Well, hello. I guess we're in our another Ascension Ground Crew meeting. Good morning, everyone.
Hmm.
It's wonderful that we get this check-in chat about how our ascension process is going, kind of what we see in the world around us, and just sort of have a chat about, hey, this is going on for me, what's going on for you guys. So um, things seem to be accelerating. And I'll invite the two of you to speak, and then I'll kind of share what's going on for me. My voice is a little bit gone, so I haven't started smoking a pack a day, though it sounds a little bit like that. I just have a little bit of a throat thing going on. So, Angela, would you like to share kind of Ascension chat or updates about the week that was?
Yeah, well, I don't know. I know that there was like a lunar eclipse this week,
Yeah, on
and it
Sunday.
wasn't visible where I live, so I couldn't see it, but I know of it because everyone's talking about it online. And so I know that that had something to do with it. And it was a full moon, and full moons always affect me, give me like extra energy. But this time it didn't. This time I felt like I was sleeping normally, which is very unusual because usually the moon affects me, at least the last several cycles of the moon. So I'm just paying attention to what's going on with my body, and what's going on physically with me with all the energies. And I think the biggest aha or insight that dropped in for me, you and I talked about it on Monday, Myrna, is that and I was thinking about you, Brian, because I was waking up on Sunday morning thinking, I wonder what I'll say in the Ascension Ground Crew checkup meeting this week, and what will I discuss? And I was wondering, and I thought about you, Brian, because I know you're really into manifestation. I think all of us are into manifestation, but I know that's really your game. You're really into that. And I was thinking, how is it that I could be in this 3D experience, with trying to generate an income and think about my house and living where I live and just the kind of 3D types of things, your body and you have a 3D body. And then I'm thinking, how do you bring in fourth and fifth dimensional manifestation practices? Because the third 3D was never really great for manifesting anyway. And then on top of that, it's just broken, totally broken for me. But so how do I work in this like multidimensional paradigm? And because I'm feeling very multidimensional. I'm feeling very much, I'm 3D grounded. I'm 4D sense of note, like time is weird. On Saturday, I sat down and was looking at things on my phone because I'm contemplating the potential of a move to another state and maybe next year. And I'm looking at houses just to get a sense of a feel of what it's like in that community and that area that I'm thinking of moving to. And it was like 9:30 in the morning. And the next thing you know, it's 4:30 in the afternoon. So time dilated in a very strange way. So here I am Sunday morning waking up with those sense of that was weird yesterday, and that was very 4D experience. And I have this consciousness. I'm bringing in all of these messages from my angel team about what it's like when we go into this Eden consciousness or this 5D consciousness. So I'm imagining that quite a bit. And then I'm having this very physical form experience. It's just really weird. And so as soon as I was kind of asking those questions, I went and got my groceries, which is a very 3D thing to do, right? To restock the refrigerator and the pantry. And it's time for lunch on Sunday, and I'm sitting down having my lunch, and lo and behold, one of my favorite spiritual teachers has a video release, and that's Carrie Kay from from South Africa. And lo and behold, what is she talking about? The fact that we are in a 3D body, having a 4D world and a 5D consciousness. And it just like, oh my gosh, talk about quantum entanglement and the sense of my mind or my thoughts were around the same as what she was speaking about that day. And she said something quite profound, which is something I've sensed for a long time, is that we have these tenacious tidbits that are anchoring us into 3D, but on purpose, like in a way that if you could get rid of those tenacious tidbits, that's what I call them. Those are the things that just you still like, okay, why am I still feeling like there's this 3D lack thing that's kind of embedded in the DNA and it's kind of ancestral and it hasn't quite gone away yet. Why is that? And her explanation was it gave words to something I've been sensing for a while, which is if we had figured those things out, we'd be enlightened just like that. And we wouldn't have to be in the 3D and we'd be like, boom, out of it. But we as a mission with as light workers, it's what I like to call it, light workers, that came in to volunteer to help implode this 3D experience, this dense experience so that we can ascend. We have to be here embodied. We have to be here holding the light and bringing in more light and bringing in more light so that we can implode it. And if we don't do that, then hey, who's going to do that? And so if we're here and this light that we have can ripple out and affect and infect other people to activate them, we have to be in the 3D. So there's been this feeling that my soul, my higher self has intentionally held me in place, letting me go on a journey to just there because you can let more light in when you do, but not quite, baby. You need to stay embodied. You need to stay a little bit stuck. And she was explaining that. She called it 3D anchors, the 3D anchor. She said, here you are trying to heal something and you're healing it again. And you think, I thought I got rid of that. And then you're healing it again. She said, there is, of course, the thing where you're trying to heal it intellectually, but it's not that always. There is an energetic anchor. I was like, that was so clear to me. It it sounded this kind of clarion bell in me because I've just had the sense for a long time. Why I know inside of me that I'm a higher dimensional being than this. Why am I tamped down? Like, why am I really being tamped down? Why am I not breaking through? And I really feel like the because I have a mission. I volunteered for this. I'm here to help with the ascension. I'm a ground crew member. And if I'm not
Mhm.
here, then who's going to do it, right? And others of us are doing it. So that's kind of my big insight this week, Myrna and Brian.
Wonderful. Yeah.
Mhm.
So fascinating. And it's nice when you kind of arrive at a conclusion and then your external world, yep, double check, yep, okay, yep, yep. Like, oh, okay, I'm in the flow of whatever's happening because this idea that I've had. I've noticed that in some of the roundtable topics that we choose or quotes that we're sharing around, and then I see them in five other places. If we decided to do a monthly coaching roundtable about when you get ghosted, and I don't know if it's the particular activator or if it's just, you dipped into the zeitgeist and saw 11 articles about why you're getting ghosted. It's like, really? Okay. Well, I guess people are talking about that. So, yeah, Brian, do you have a kind of an ascension check-in for us?
Okay, yeah. I dropped out for a little bit there, so I didn't hear everything. But
Yeah.
um, yeah, as far as manifestation, I mean, I'll just share my perspective on it. I think manifestation applies to like every dimension, pretty much, just kind of how I see it. I just think like it's like higher dimensions, you're manifesting in gas, so it's like super easy. And then, a little bit lower than that, you're manifesting like in liquid. Takes a little more
Mm.
time to get through. And then like 3D is like manifesting like in solid. So it's like you're trying to move through like a solid or like a sludge. Manifestation still applies. You can definitely prove that it works for yourself. I mean, millions of people have done that. You can definitely do that. So, but yeah, there's a time delay. It takes longer here. So you can think of ascension as we're moving from trying to manifest within like a sludge or like a solid to like manifesting in like liquid,
Mhm.
where it's just you can just move through it real quick. Things will manifest a lot smoother. quicker, easier. And then the ultra high realms, it's like instant, like it's just bang. It's like something just shooting through the air real quick. So yeah, that's what I would say. And as far as for me, Ascension check-in, I don't know. What I'm noticing is I think a lot of people are kind of becoming less interested in the world. I've seen some videos about this, more interested in just turning to God or spirituality. Um, I've seen some videos where people are kind of talking about no one really like I think there's a sense of a lot of people don't care what the politicians are going to do. It's kind of like we've heard it all before. We know it's all bullshit. We don't care. I'm just going to like walk with God. Like, I mean, I don't care. This world is just going to do whatever it does. You know what I mean? You got to turn to spirituality or God. Like, I actually saw a video with Tim Dillon, sort of in a way talking about this. And he was saying that in the old America, yeah, we sort of knew politicians were lying to us, but it was a situation where we were all getting enough benefits that we were like, okay, you lie a little bit, but like we're still getting a fairly decent deal. So it's fine. We'll overlook it. But like now it's come to a point where it's like the lies are way worse. The bullshit is way more. The benefits are way less. And so you have this situation where a lot of people are like, no, don't want to hear it, don't care. Like, whatever you have to say is crap on either side. No one cares. Pray, get right with God, prepare for the afterlife. Like, it's just, who cares? This world is fallen. Like, it is what it is. You know what I mean? We're not like waiting around for like some white knight politician to come in and save the day. I think a lot of people feel that now. Like, get right with God, just enjoy life. That's it. Like, so I do think there is somewhat of a growing sense of that. And yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think that's good for now. And maybe I'll jump in later if someone else wants to
Great, good.
jump in.
Well, I think we have a few more minutes. I had kind of two alternate experiences for the last couple of weeks as we prepare for this show. I've had some resistance in my field, I guess, about being ready, being available. And I just noticed I'm having to work a little bit to overcome that resistance. But I had decided to do 30 days of fire ceremonies for September. And so it's the 10th, I've done 9 of them so far. Um, and I had a particularly lovely spiritual experience after the one on the 7th. And I shared it with Brian, and he said, "Oh, mention that with the Ascension Ground Crew." So there's a normal procedure. You do say the rosary, or you do other spiritual rituals or practices. There's a method. You start with this, and then you do that, and then you do the next, and then you kind of close. And I had decided that it was very late in the day when I finally got a chance to sit down. And I thought I'm going to do just kind of a truncated version. I'm going to shorten up this. I'm going to use the phrase from A Course in Miracles that Brian and I are working through right now. I'm going to use today's little phrase about that. And after the fire, I have people that I pray for, the 2 people that are here, as well as other people, whenever I have a ceremony and seek to have blessings come to them and send love their way. So it was a much shorter ceremony and it was really fun. Love and forgiveness. And I'm working through a challenge right now to do a love challenge. So love is on my mind, the different kinds of love. And so that's kind of top of mind for me anyway. So the fire was complete and I went to sleep. And as I was laying down to fall asleep, I was overwhelmed with the sweetest feeling. And I only remember feeling it when I was a small child. The feeling of being so loved and so blessed and so cared for. The feeling that you have as a little kid when your parent comes in to tuck you in and give you a kiss goodnight on your forehead, where you know all is right in the world. You are truly, deeply loved, protected, cared for. Everything is good and fine, and you are well loved. And I couldn't stop smiling. It lasted for like half an hour. And in that experience, I also knew that every single person on earth was treated the same way. This wasn't designed just for me. I had just tapped in to what was available for every person on earth. They are loved by a higher power, by God, by Jesus, fill in the blank for what your spiritual orientation is. They are beloved and they are protected. And I just hadn't had that sense. The other stark part of it was I really knew how long it had been since I felt that way. Like I was 8 the last time I felt that way in a yellow bedroom in a house in California. The last time I felt that safe and secure and that loved and cared for. And I think that's something parents do for children, and in your adult life, you're not being tucked in at night like a child told, sweet dreams and everything's going to be okay. But to be connected with a higher power and feel truly and deeply loved, the sense of security, protection, and profound love. So I was just having so much gratitude to feel it, and then expressing gratitude to the higher power that loves every one of us on earth exactly that way, even if we don't all dip in and experience it as maybe as often as we'd like to. So yeah, it was just did a fire a little differently late at night and had a sweet experience as a result. So, I'm having salt and pepper. I'm having some negative experiences and some resistance. And then I'm having beautiful, loving experiences too. And maybe it's just the turbulence of the time, but I'd say that's my ascension check-in. So, Angela, if you want to, I'll let you close the meeting.
No, I love what you're saying because um, whether that is coming from perhaps, I mean, we could put all sorts of names on it if we really
Sure.
go into like a unity consciousness thing, and at some level, we're all one
Yeah.
anyway, right? So you're tapping
Yeah.
in.
Yeah.
Could that be something from the angelic realm? Could that be something from perhaps even your future self, or a self part of you that loves you because it just has another higher dimensional, more omniscient view of you? So, because, I think human love is definitely a unique love. So yeah, I love what you're saying. It totally makes sense. And I can't wait to take your 4-week challenge to do love 24/7.
About
That
love.
sounds so cool. And Brian, I love what you're saying too about manifestation being like, is it liquid form? Does it feel like a sludge or molasses like you're moving through? And or is it instant, and so forth, which I kind of sense that is that fifth dimensional consciousness, if we want to give numbers to it and say dimensional stuff. I think it's just levels of conscious awareness. So yeah, I think you guys have gotten some really great insights. I'm really curious to see what other people are going through. To me, I think it's interesting. The reason why we want to do this is that we really will invite a community of other people who are going through some weird experiences too. If you want to call it weird, I guess it's weirdly wonderful. Not always, I think, wonderful. Sometimes they're challenging things that we're going through, but I think just the times are different, the energies are different than what they were just a year ago, 2 years ago, 10 years ago, 30 years ago, for those of us who've been around on the planet for a while. And it's distinctly different. And so just being able to share that with each other, I think, is going to be helpful. So I invite comments. I would love to hear what other people are going through as well.
Great.
Yes, let me jump in on that. Yeah, I agree. Write some comments if you feel like you're going through some ascension
Mm.
symptoms or signs. We'd love to hear. And then, Mom, I want to talk about your experience, which I think is wonderful. And in my opinion, that's a miracle. So I'm gonna call that a miracle. Okay. And so
Of course, the
and
miracles
actually
would call it that, to seek miracles every day. Yes.
exactly, it says, that's just what I was gonna say. It says in the Course in Miracles, one of the purposes of going through a Course in Miracles is to invite miracles into your life. There you go. So I also highly recommend A Course in Miracles to everyone else. It's kind of alternative Christianity, which, and going through that has actually made me a whole lot more Christian because it had a lot more appeal to me than like the Bible did.
A
Although through
metaphysical
this,
view. Hmm.
although through this process, I'm starting to have a lot more respect and understanding of the Bible as well by going through A Course in Miracles and doing kind of the exercises and stuff. So yeah, I think that's wonderful. And I would encourage everyone to have a personal relationship with God.
Mhm.
I want to say that whatever you currently believe God is, Jesus or just God or whatever name you have for it, Hashem, whatever you say. Um, and yeah, I mean, one insight that I got from my explorations of this is I sort of got this insight that I'm a person, so I'm designed for a personal God and a personal relationship with God. So sometimes one of the things that about some of the meditations or some of the Eastern practices that you really have more of an impersonal God. You're just trying to tap into some like a God consciousness, which people can do. They can get to very high states, but I really like having a personal relationship with God. I like talking to God,
Mhm.
asking to hear God's voice, having a personal relationship. And I feel like that's so beautiful. And you can have experiences like you had, Mom, where it's like the Holy Spirit comes upon you and you're in relationship. It knows what you needed to feel in that moment. It's not just you're like trying to engineer enlightenment in a cave by yourself somewhere. You have
Hmm.
like you have a communication, you have a relationship. And so I think everyone should do that, even if you don't go to church, even if you don't read the Bible, even if you don't have a specific religion, talk to God. Open up a personal relationship. I think it's a beautiful thing. So I would recommend that to everyone.
If you're watching this on YouTube, down below, you'll find a link for our Patreon channel, and there's a free level. Come chat with us there too.
Yeah.